Okay, so now please, guys, introduce yourself. Let me start with myself. I am Kshitij Gupta. I am third year mechanical engineering student from ZSCT AMU. Today's meet is organized to help each other improving our communication skills, and we are gathered here to discuss about some of the relevant topics uh, regarding to social environment and uh, current news. So let me ask other people also to introduce themselves. Tabib.
Hello everyone, I am Tabib Ahmed and I am a third year physics student from Aligarh Muslim University and I am a recent member of this group and uh, my motive to join this group was to improve my communication skills, of course, and apart from that I also want to uh, uh, get a broader exposure and I want to meet new people. Like I am from the Department of Physics, I want to know more and more people. So that's the reason why I joined this group. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. I am Ahmed Wahab. I'm also from ZCT AMU. I'm a student of third year mechanical engineering, and my purpose for joining this group was to get exposure to uh, different topics regarding social, economical, and political topics, and increase my awareness and also increase my confidence while speaking in groups and in group discussions. Thank you.
Okay. So
Introducing yourself is something that's really difficult for me, I would say. I mean, I can speak about anything, but when you ask me to introduce myself, then I'm too weak. I mean, it's too hard for me. I don't know why is that for me.
yeah, it usually happens because we don't have anything to a specific thing to introduce ourselves regarding
It is a kind of
this.
irony because you are asked about yourself and you know a whole lot about yourself because it is you that we are asking about. And when you are asked about yourself, you don't even know what to speak. So it comes at the irony, I would say. So yeah, do you guys agree?
Yes, because people usually in the dilemma like what to say and what not to say. What is relevant to uh, what is relevant in the introduction with the context of this discussion and what is not. So I think they have to
Exactly.
also maintain their continuity of introducing themselves, and at the same time they are
Mhm,
thinking about what to say and what not to say.
mhm, mhm.
Okay, so
Even
let
in our mother
me.
language Hindi, it's not only about English. If we ask to introduce somebody in his mother tongue, even then he'll hesitate and he'll be reluctant to introduce himself because he'll have to think a lot. Because out of so many things that is going on in his life, he'll have to bring in only those things that can be displayed, that can be portrayed. So this is what it makes it so difficult to present. Okay,
Yes,
anyways, let's
yes.
start with our topic that we have for today. So who'd
Yes.
like to go first? Kshitij, is that you?
Okay, let me just repeat the topic of today's discussion. So, the topic for today's discussion is: should there be a wealth tax for the ultra rich people, so that those who are in dire need or an urgent need should be compensated?
Okay, so Kshitij, would you like to go first or is it Behab?
Um, I would like
Okay,
to go first.
okay.
Okay, so your topic is should the there will be should there be a wealth tax for ultra rich, right?
Yes,
So
Yeah, that is the topic.
there is I have heard there is wealth tax for the rich people in most of the countries, and it depends on the individual's net worth of assets uh, rather than their income or what they consume. So, uh, but um, what happens mostly is that we don't know what um, is actually uh, going through in governmental and these economical places, because there are many rich who uh, kind of use their influence to evade these taxes. That's why we hear that IT departments and income tax departments are raiding people's house for cash found there, like 40 crores and cash and 50 crores, something, a huge amount of money found in stash kept in their basement or something like that. So these there are these rich people, they use several methods to evade taxes levied on their uh, money, their income, their assets. So I believe that uh, the wealth tax um, is there, but what we need is proper implementation of these taxes so that the rich can't evade these laws, and they don't hide their money, or they don't launder their money. uh, we hear many cases of money laundering done by big corporations. And I have also heard about a company in like Singapore or somewhere where they specially hire people to launder their money. So although there are wealth taxes uh, put in there by the government, but these rich people are using ways to evade these taxes. So it all comes down to whether the government is uh, using these laws strictly or not. The wealth tax in India is like about 1% or something of 1%. Yes, 1% of net wealth. If a person earns more than 30 lakhs, so some people believe that 30 lakhs is not a lot of money for them in a rich community, and they believe that 1% of their wealth, which will be uh, if let's say we take the example of Adani, who earns like around $100 billion. So 1% will be like $1 billion, but we don't see where these where this
Let me
billion
correct you,
dollar is.
Wahab. This tax is not on the net worth. This tax is on the income. If
Income,
it is,
yes.
if it is on the net worth, then we will not having facing these issues of poverty in India, because we have a lot of billionaires, and 2% or 1% from their income will create a lot of wealth, so that
But
we are able to
And that is not going
reduce,
to happen. It is
eradicate
not
poverty in
practical
India.
because the whole wealth doesn't actually belong to them. The whole wealth has a lot of shareholders. Like they must have got
yeah,
listed
yeah.
their company in some share market and all. So there are people who have invested into their company and they are also accountable. So that is not going to happen. The only thing that can happen is that the person who is a
No, but
majority shareholder of a particular company. Okay, I think we should let Wahab continue
no,
because it is his time to speak.
let's
No, what
say
I'm saying is that
no,
the
I
tax is
got your
not on
point,
the
Kshitij.
wealth; it is on the income. And
I
the
got your
basic
point,
thing is
Kshitij.
that thing is that
Okay, let him finish first, and then you can put your point. Okay.
but what
I
the thing
see.
that Wahab is saying, like 1% of net worth of Adani, so it is not about the net worth; it is about income. And when we compare the net worth with the income, we will see that they have a difference in a scale factor of 10 to 100. So we are to talk about the incomes of these billionaires. They will show
Okay,
their
okay, we'll
income.
come to that. We'll come to that. Okay, I got it. I got it. We'll come to that.
Okay, no
Wahab,
problem.
you
Okay,
continue.
Wahab, you should continue.
Okay,
Then I will say my point.
I got your point. What you're saying, the net worth is different from income, but still, these guys own a huge amount of uh, money. Like, let's say, what according to you would be the income of Adani?
Okay, okay. Let me tell you a fact that
No, no,
Ambani
yeah,
showed
I'm
that in the financial year of 2019 to 20, he just
Mhm.
got an income of 2.5 crores from Reliance Industries. So if we are going to talk about the 2% corporate social responsibility on the net worth, then his net worth is around $90 billion. And if you are going to talk about the corporate social responsibility on the income, then you know what is 2% of 2.5 crore. It is nothing.
Hmm.
So that's
Hmm.
why
But
I said that it is not on the net worth, it is on the income. That's why it is not helping to eradicate poverty in India.
yes, yes, exactly. This I remember studying an article about the American tax laws, where the wealth don't have to pay tax because these wealthy people own very large corporation, very large companies, and these companies generate employees and thousands of employees. These employees pay taxes. So according to these rich people, they are generating taxes. So this also shows that rich believe that they are creating taxes by employing other people. So the wealth tax does not does not give conclusion to the issue that the rich are not donating money or they are not giving the taxes. There
Okay,
should be
okay.
some
So
other measure uh, that should be implemented if we want the money the rich earn, the money the rich have to uh, fight against the poverty of uh, like you shared the stats, like 1% of the population has
So
like
your stand
50%
on
of
this
the
is
wealth.
that the concept of wealth tax should not be levied on the rich people because it is not practical. This is what you mean. Because when it comes
No,
to the
I'm
ground
not saying
situation, then it is
it
not.
should not be levied, but I'm saying that there should also be some other
There are better
uh,
options.
measure. Yes, there should be some better options, some other measures to, like, if we want,
Okay.
if you are talking about like the rich don't help the poor kind of thing.
Mhm. So any suggestion that you have
no, government is taking
that
that
you have
initiative. Let me talk about one of the
Kshitij,
schemes of government.
let me just complete. Actually, I was going
No,
to ask him about his suggestions that any of the suggestions that you have that can be a better option than levying a wealth tax over the
yes,
rich
yes. I
people.
am saying
Any
that I
suggestion
am
Mm,
apart from
talking
this?
about that suggestion
I,
itself.
I I don't have many suggestions,
Uh,
but one of the simplest suggestion I believe is that uh, like charity foundations, private foundations, where the rich, donate
Brother,
money.
this is
Uh,
already happening. I mean,
this
This
is
charity
is
already
happening,
foundations.
yes,
and
this already
billionaires are
and this
taking
is one of the best options
benefited
present
from
right
this
now.
these types of NGOs. They
Yeah.
are at the
Mhm.
same time donating to NGOs and getting benefited from paying income taxes. And when you compare the numbers of giving charity to NGOs and the tax that they cut off, that the tax which they get waived, you will find that the numbers are very different. They only pay some amount of money, and in the name of that charity, they used to get a waiver, which is quite. I'm not knowing the exact number, but which is more
Okay,
than
they're
what they are
just
paying to the
using those
NGOs.
loopholes in the financial system. Okay, so there are some loopholes. There are certain
Okay, let me tell you the
provisions in our
loopholes in the
financial
financial
system.
system, which I was telling
Okay,
earlier, and you stopped
we'll
me.
discuss
Let me
about the loopholes
complete this
at
because I
some other.
think it will continue. It will help us to proceed our discussion. What I am telling is that what
Okay.
are the flaws with the levying in this corporate responsibility on income tax is that because the big rich peoples are showing their income very less. They are not showing their income, which is a liquid income. The income they got is in the form of the shares, so it contributes to their net worth, but it is not contributing to their income. So the income that they are earning is from the positions they are on which they are held, which in the organizations they are working for, or the organizations they formed. For example, Ambani is the CEO of Reliance Industries, and he is getting a income of around 2.5 crore per year as a CEO of Reliance Industries. But we also know, we know
Is
that
it for
he's
real? I mean, he's the founder of Reliance Industries, and how come he's getting such a low amount of money? I mean, he's the
it is
founder.
a
Okay, he's a CEO, but apart from being
it
a
is a
CEO,
mutual
he's
decision
also
of
a majority shareholder of Reliance Industries.
it is a mutual decision of the shareholders of Reliance Industries, like how much should we have to pay the CEO uh, for Reliance Industries.
That's a different thing. Currently, we are not talking about some CEO. That's a different thing. Ambani is a CEO. Apart from that, he is a wealthy businessman. So we are talking about Ambani. We are not talking about a particular designation that he is a CEO. Correct? So he is a CEO for which he is earning a particular amount of income for which he is paying the tax and for which he can be asked to pay some other kind of tax. But we are not talking about any designation, a person sitting at a particular designation. We are talking about a person as a whole. Okay, we are talking about Mukesh Ambani. Currently, we are talking about ultra rich people. We are not talking about some consultants or some rich doctors. We are just talking about people who are earning a lot. Great.
Actually, I'm not getting
So
a question. I am just explaining that the same thing that you are talking about. I said that it is wrong to
you gave an
levy tax
example
on the
that he's
income
earning
taxes
2.5 crore
because
annually because he is a CEO of Reliance Industries. So that is okay. Ambani must be earning this amount of money, but apart from earning 2.5 crore, he must also be earning 2,500 crore approx per annum
actually he is
because he
not
is
earning
the
that
majority shareholder
2500
of the.
crores in the form of liquid money. There are two different concepts.
Why?
One is a
Why?
liquid money and
No,
one
no,
are
no.
the
He must be
assets.
earning. Listen, listen, listen. He must be earning because he's a majority shareholder. The company must be earning some profit, na? That is why the organization is running. Okay, so there is some profit that is coming to the shareholders. There's some profit that
But
is coming to the
he is not
investors.
showing
There's
that
some
that
profit that is
that
coming to the
income
founder.
that income from the shares. He is not showing it in the form of the liquid money. He is just investing those money to more liquefy the shares of the Reliance Industries. He is more investing in the Reliance Industries itself. So it is not
Okay, so you mean
as per
the
the
income that he is
financial.
producing from his industry,
Uh,
he's
let
using
me
it
put
from
Tabib,
his.
Tabib, Tabib.
Yeah.
Let me put in. Let me put it in simple words. The money is in
Mm.
the flow. When they say the rich say that when money is in the flow, they cannot pay the taxes because their money is flowing. Means they are getting money from their shares, but these money they invest. So they say they don't have the money.
Okay, let me make
Okay,
the
so you
things
mean
more
they are
simpler
just
to you.
investing the
So,
profit
Tabib,
to
do
build
you
in
know
more and
about
more assets? Okay, I
CTC?
got it.
What actually is CTC?
Got it, got it. Actually, I was a little confused in the
Okay,
beginning,
so
but
this is the
currently I
same
got it.
thing.
I have made
CTC
it
is
very
not
clear.
CTC is not the thing. It is not
Your
equal
income,
to the in-hand
CTC
salary.
is not your income.
Yeah,
Okay,
it is
okay, got
not
it.
the in-hand salary.
CTC is
In-hand
something.
salary is a liquid form of the
Okay, okay.
salary which you will get, which you can spend in the market, and from
So you
which
mean
against of which you will
the
get,
profits
you can.
that Reliance Industry is earning,
Okay,
it is
let me
actually
complete, because
using the profit.
if you let
Okay,
me
okay.
complete the thing which I am saying, then I suppose that you will be knowing the thing which I am speaking to you. So
Okay, go
the
ahead.
liquid money is that form of money from which you are able to buy any good in the market, and the money which is in the form of the assets, you are not able to instantaneously buy anything from those assets. So these billionaires are not earning in the form of the liquid money from their shares. They are investing the money from their share in liquefying more the shares of the Reliance Industries. For example, let me give you a clear example. For example,
What is the
currently
meaning of
Reliance
this
Industry has.
liquefaction of shares?
I am clarifying this same thing. For example, let Reliance Industries has 1 lakh shares currently in the market, and each share costs around 5,000 rupees. So 5,000 into 1 lakh is the net market capitalization of Reliance Industries. So, for example, 35% of these shares is in the hands of Mukesh Ambani. Now, in a financial year, Reliance Industries got a net profit of around 25%. So, Mukesh Ambani will himself get a 25% profit on his 35% shares, but he is not getting that profitable money in the form of a liquid money. He is reinvesting those money in the Reliance Industries and increasing the number of shares of that industry. For example, he increased the shares up to 1 lakh 12,000 shares, and now he just opened those new shares in the market, and those new shares will indirectly came to Reliance Industries, and will indirectly ultimately will come to the Mukesh Ambani. But that form of income is not included in the income. But that form of I can say profit or gain will not included in your income, net income. But that corporate responsibility is currently levied upon your income, which he is getting from the position of CEO. So that why the corporate responsibility levied on him is very less, because he is only entitled to pay 2.2%, which is a corporate social responsibility of any billionaire of 2.5 crores. So you know what is 2% of 2.5 crore?
It's only 5 lakh rupees.
Okay, so he is only entitled to pay 5 lakh rupees as a corporate social responsibility. So that's why this
Okay.
system is
So
inconsistent.
okay, I got it. But again, I have a little doubt. If you can please clarify. So my doubt is, you said uh, the money that Mukesh Ambani is generating from his own share is being reinvested by him into the shares of his company. I mean, he's expanding the shares. But when you expand the shares of your company, you are asking the common people to come and invest. You are not investing your own money, your own income. So how is he expanding the shares and investing his money? I don't understand this whole thing.
Yes,
I mean, what's
it
going
is
on?
a thing. Like you are asking people to buy those new shares which are added in the current shares. So that money is not coming to Mukesh Ambani. He is coming to Reliance Industries. For example, X amount of money came to Reliance Industries. 35% of that part is of Mukesh Ambani, but is not coming to Mukesh Ambani. It is coming to Reliance Industries, and with that money, Reliance Industries is reinvesting those money to create more wealth. This is a kind of system we have.
Okay, I got it. But I'm talking that if suppose if X amount of profit has been generated by the company or by the Reliance industry
Okay.
per se, so where is that money going? You gave the example of reinvesting that money into the shares, but
Yeah, it
why would a
continuously happens.
company?
It continuously happens
I mean, why would you invest your own organization's money into expanding your shares? I mean, when you expand your
because
shares,
the
you
value
ask
of your
the
share
common
is
people.
continuously increasing by this process. Otherwise, your share will remain
You,
at the
Tabib,
values which are currently the value of those shares. For example, currently it is of 100 rupees. Then,
Okay,
if you are
okay,
not doing this process, it in the future it will also be of 100 rupees. So now you are able to understand why it is
okay,
indirect
got it,
money,
got it.
because it is
Okay,
not in
got
the
it.
form of liquid, but it is increasing.
Okay, it is not giving you dividends, but it is actually adding value to your shares.
It is giving you dividends, but it is not in your hands. The value of those dividends is not in your hand. You are not able to spend those directly. You have to
Okay, okay.
like I can say, reinvest those value from the market, and then you can spend in another thing.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. Dividends, by dividends, I mean the income that is generated by your share. For example, if you have invested 1 crore rupees in the share of a particular industry, then suppose you are getting 1 lakh rupees per month. Okay. So now you are not getting those 1 lakh rupees per month. Instead of that, the value of your share is increasing from 1 crore to 1.5 crore, or let's say 2 crore.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is how the money that is earned by the organizations, by some large multinational corporations, is reinvested into building up the value
Instead of the liquid money.
instead of the liquid money, the one time money that you get as a dividend.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, okay. Okay, so can I proceed now? I have Wahab, sorry, Wahab, are you done with your presentation, or is there something else that you can
yes,
add?
I said everything I wanted to say. And then you started discussing
Okay,
some other interesting topics. So I was just listening.
okay, 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 okay. Well, I think that we should be allowing the current panelist, to complete what they are actually saying. This is not a fair means, like we are interrupting. Even if you are interrupting, then don't take more than 10 or 20 seconds. I mean, we are interrupting. If you disagree
Actually,
with
it is
something,
also
then
important
okay,
to
come
get
in.
the things at the right time. Otherwise, the discussion will not proceed in the right direction.
No, it's okay. But
If the
there has to
fact
be
is
some time
wrong,
limit.
you
I
have
mean,
to
you are
correct
coming
that
and
fact. It is your responsibility.
Yeah, yeah. So this is what I'm saying. I'm not asking, I'm not denying to come in. I'm saying that if you disagree with something, or if there is some inconsistency in the fact, then comment just for 10 or 20 seconds. Take as minimum time as possible,
Actually,
so that the participant who
actually,
is currently
I
speaking.
have I have not given the time to complete my point. That's why the discussion goes on and on. If I was given the time to complete, then I will be completing the thing which what I was telling about.
Okay,
Okay,
so
let it be
I
so.
I already said my
Yeah.
point. If one of you would also like to share your view, you can continue.
Okay, okay.
We are telling we
So
are
well, I remember very well what Wahab had to say in his uh, presentation. So initially he said about the tax evasion by the rich. So there are certain loopholes, as we have discussed so much about these, about one of the loopholes that are present in our financial system, like the one wherein the wealthy people just reinvest their money into their corporations for their asset building. So similarly, we have a lot other loopholes present in our financial system, and we need to address it. Apart from that, yeah, it happens. So, but when we talk about the wealth tax, I mean, wealth tax is something that should be present in each and every part of the world. You gave the example of Singapore, wherein there are people who are actually evading from these taxes. But just look at the financial condition of Singapore. It's a lot healthier than India. There are people, like if you compare the per capita GDP or the per capita income of Singapore from India, then it is significantly higher. Okay, the scope of corruption is everywhere. Okay, which you cannot deny. It doesn't matter how hard you work to finish all these immoral or unethical activities. There will be some people who will continue that. Okay, you can just
I would like to
reduce
add a
it.
point. I would
Hmm.
like to add a point. The criminal or civil system of Singapore is actually very good. That is why
Hmm.
the people who were laundering money, who were evading taxes, were caught so easily. So you can just
Hmm.
imagine how bad the conditions in countries where these systems are not implemented are actually. So you can
also
imagine the
Yeah.
conditions in many of the like China and Korea, India, and US. So these countries, they have actually, like, you can see the system of Singapore is actually much better than them. So that's why these people were
Hmm.
caught very easily. But in our country and in other like economic giants, these people are not actually caught very easily.
also there is
Hmm.
a
So that
one
has
more
nothing to do
important
with the law and
reason.
order.
Singapore opened his doors for globalization much before than India. You are saying that
Hmm.
Singapore has a lot less criminal record, or as compared to India and other South Asian countries. But talking about China, China is also very high corruption index, but China has a very, uh, I can say, as compared to India, high per capita income. So it is not entirely about the corruption rate in a particular country. It is about accepting opportunities at the right time. Singapore opened his doors for
Hmm.
Europe at that time when Europe needed a market. Europe needed a place where they can sell their products, they can produce their products, and also where shipping is easily available. And Singapore, we all know that it is an island. It is not a landlocked country. It has ports, so it is easy for them to produce and distribute their products all over the world. So that's why Singapore is wealthier than us. But when you
Don't underestimate the coastline we have in our India. It is plenty. It's huge. Singapore is
but
just an
India
island, and it has
India
a little
India
coastline provided to itself. It's not a landlocked country. Okay, it's an island. I understand that is why it has that opportunity to sea trade. But India also have that gigantic coastline present in its south, wherein it can easily trade. Okay, so there are lots of factors, but I think primarily what is responsible for the ailing health of Indian economy is corruption. Okay, believe me or not, agree with me or not, but what is my stand with our poor economic performance is merely corruption because once India used to be called a bird of gold. Okay, so India was, currently as we look upon Dubai for its beauty, for its, I mean, incredible architecture. This is what used to be considered with India. This is what used to be with India at the time of Mughals, when there was administration because technological advancements and they are bringing in, they are actually improving the life of people. But apart from that, they are also increasing the scope of corruption. Okay, so if you are thinking that technological advancement can only bring in positives and it is just leaving out the negatives, then this is not something that is happening because everywhere the pros and cons are present.
Okay,
So
let me
earlier on, at
interrupt
the time
you.
of Mughals or at the time of just a minute, at the time of Mauryas, the kind of structure, that kind of architect of our Indian economy was such that everyone was wealthy, right? So India was producing heaps of wealth.
Okay,
There
let
were
me ask a
people.
question to you guys. Uh,
Okay.
Let me take you around 1950s. So, can you name some
Hmm.
countries who were developed at that time? Because
United
everything
States,
is
of course, was
related.
developed. Hmm.
Okay, so can you name
There were
some
only two
countries?
countries which could have been said to be developed at that time. That was Soviet Union and USA.
No,
USA.
they are
They
No,
were
not
broadly
even
having
Soviet Union.
broadly two countries. They are two superpowers, but
Yes,
development was
superpowers. Yeah.
as compared to India. There are
Actually, the narrative
many
of developed
many
countries
developed
is very
countries.
subjective.
Developed
Okay,
countries
so
in
the
the form of
Western countries call
economies and in
themselves.
the form of per capita income. Let me clear this point.
Okay, so if you the capita income, there are different. There are different data points that can tell you different figures. There is a certain criteria that is considered or that is acknowledged by a particular part of the world, whereas in the other part of the world, there
Don't
is
go
some
that
different
deep
criteria that is
into the
followed.
topic. I am just asking, as compared to the size of the economies and per capita incomes, which countries were
Hmm.
developed around 1950s? Because I have to proceed my
Turkey was developed.
answer, which is based on
Turkey
those
was
developed
developed
countries. Turkey was developed. Okay, Turkey was developed, but not that developed.
at the time of
Turkey is not
Ottoman Empire.
producing enough for the country because it is also dependent on upon your production power. So
Hmm.
uh, I think Britain is developed at that time.
Listen, before the intervention of United States, before Turkey lost lose to United States,
Okay,
Turkey
okay.
was very well
Okay.
developed
Turkey
because it
was
had.
developed. Okay, don't go that deep into the debate.
Mhm.
Turkey was developed.
Okay,
Britain
okay,
was
okay.
developed. US was developed. USSR
Mm.
was developed, and
France
many
was developed.
European
Germany
countries
was developed.
were
No,
developed.
Germany was not
Many
developed, I think.
many European countries were developed. Okay, I'm not telling the
Yeah.
specific names. Okay, India was
Okay, and
definitely
that is
not
just
developed
because they were
because
colonizing the world.
yes, yes. India was not developed because
Mm.
India just started its journey after independence. China was also not developed.
Mhm,
And in
mhm,
around 1980s, China accepted globalization. 11 years before India accepted globalization. Okay, so let me tell about the
mhm,
consequences of that, taking the opportunities both handedly. Okay, so
mhm,
Europe is developed. Europe is producing enough, which is in surplus when they are selling in their own country. So they have to sell their surplus to some other countries, and also they
mhm,
need, and also in European countries, the uh, labors are not cheaper, and they need an alternative to produce their products. China accepted globalization in 1980s, so many companies started producing in China because China has enough resources, China has enough population, and China also initiated a program to develop their citizens to develop their skills. So, around in 1991, when India accepted globalization, China was much ahead of India because of high growth rate of China for about 10 years. So at that time, India was too late to accept the globalization because then India was only become the market for those companies who are already working and producing their products from China. So that's why I think that India is currently not developed because corruption plays
Okay,
a
there
factor.
are lots of
How
factors. Yeah, there are
corruption plays
lots
a
of
factor,
factors.
No,
but the production power of a country plays an important factor in your development. Talking
no,
about the
actually,
numbers in
your
which
point.
corruption is taking place in China, then I can say
No,
20% of the
okay,
wealth
okay,
of
okay.
China is in the form of
Okay,
corruption.
okay.
And
Let Behab come in. He wants to say something.
Your point is
Behab.
valid. Your point is correct. But what corruption leads to is uh, like obviously it hinders the growth of the economy,
definitely, I'm not
right?
denying this fact.
Hmm. But uh, what happened was, like, you can take the example of Korea. Okay, Korea is considered a developed country, but India is not actually considered a developed country. It when you check like the UN site, they say that India is in the process of developing. So Korea and India were like the Korean War was like when was the Korean War? You remember the Korean
It
War
was
between
around.
North and South? It happened in like 1950s. So at that
Yeah, it was in
after
1950s.
that Korea formed, and then Korea started to develop. Korea has more corruption than India, but Korea is more developed than India. What they did was the corruption actually helped in the development of the rich and the government.
Okay, let
But
me put some data
no,
on the table.
wait.
So,
The
Kshitij, you were saying that India. Okay, okay, okay. We have continued.
the corruption that Koreans did actually helped the rich and their economy, but at the same time it increased the gap between the rich and the poor. That is what not happened in India. In India, the corruption did not increase the gap. Everybody was doing corruption, so everybody was affected. That is what led to the slow growth of Indian economy.
Okay, so Kshitij, you said that it was because of the globalization acceptance that is actually causing the development of a particular country. And you gave the example of China that can be taken. And but let me tell you about the example as you brought South Korea in the picture. So South Korea actually went into the globalization thing in 1997 when it went through the financial crisis. Okay, so South Korea, if you take the example of when we compare ourselves to South Korea, then India was much ahead than South Korea when it comes to global acceptance. I think we had our financial reforms in 1991, wherein South Korea, when it got into the financial crisis and accepted the globalization, it was in 1997. And just look at the kind of growth, look at the kind of
it
performance,
is it is
look at the kind of
important. Let me
improvement
interrupt
it
you.
has been
Let me
through.
interrupt you. It is not solely depend upon the year when the country accepted globalization. It also depends upon the geographical region. When we talk about Asia, in
India
Asia
is
there are
best
two
when
big
it comes to
markets. There are two
if you
big
are gonna
markets.
debate me with the geographical location of India, then
It is
brother,
it
let
is
me tell you, India is one of the few countries in the world that is best in its geographical location
you are
because it
not
has
understanding
every
the
kind of
point and you are
environment.
not letting me complete the thing. I'm saying that it is important because of geographical region, because already China accepted globalization, and countries are already producing their products in East Asia and Asia in China. So why they bother to install their companies in a location which is
No,
just
no,
near
no, no,
China?
no.
South
No, no,
Korea
no,
is
no.
an
You,
Kshitij,
entirely
you got
different
that
country.
wrong.
no,
It
no,
is an
I
entirely
think
different geographical
I
region.
think that that is
And
something
also I
Korea,
forgot about one point. There are two types of corruption. One is a destructive corruption. One is a constructive corruption. Constructive corruptions means that the political powers, or the those who are in political power did corruption, but they didn't do on the verge of the growth of their country. For example, in China, usually politicians don't hinder their in their country's growth by not letting the
Okay, first
policies
let me clarify that there
implemented
is
on time.
That
nothing that can be considered as a constructive corruption. Corruption is corruption. It cannot be constructive.
It is
Doesn't
constructive and
matter
it is
how it is
destructive.
impacting.
If you give your priority towards the money only,
Okay,
then it
there
is
can be
destructive
wherein you can
corruption.
measure
If you have
the kind
priority,
of
no,
if
no,
you
no.
give
development of
priority to,
country.
if you
Habib,
give priority to the policies of country, then it is
Mhm.
constructive corruption. It is not completely constructive corruption, but it is not
No,
hindering
brother,
your,
no, no,
it is not
Tabib,
hindering your
corruption cannot
growth.
be. Yeah,
It is
okay,
not hindering your growth,
Habib.
because you have not
we have.
led the policies of your countries in
Okay,
the,
okay.
I'm
I got
not
your point.
getting,
I
I'm
Wait,
not
got your
getting the
point.
exact word, but
Kshitij,
आपने जी
I got your point. I got your point.
let
We
me
have.
let me let me help Tabib understand how corruption can be constructive. There are
No, I got his point.
contracts.
He's actually trying to say that corruption is constructive if it is not coming on the way of the development of his country. This is what he's saying.
exactly, I'm not getting the
Exactly.
word
Yes.
on the
No,
pay.
no.
I understand. I
Kshitij is
understand. But
right.
but but listen,
And when we are talking about
you
the
are calling
scenario in
this kind of
India,
corruption.
politicians don't care about the growth of the country. They're
Okay,
just
I got it.
letting.
I got it. I got it. But
That
you
is
are using the term
exactly.
constructive. But
No, no.
first,
Listen.
let me clarify the term constructive. A constructive word means something that is leading to the improvement. Okay. So if there's a constructive corruption, it means that the corruption is leading to the development of your country. Okay. It's okay. I understand that the kind of corruption you're talking about, it is not coming on the way of the development of your country, but it is at some level impacting the growth of your country. Okay, doesn't matter that how far the corruption goes, but it is uh, impacting the growth of your country. Okay, a corruption cannot be corruption without any influence of itself on the economy. Okay, but there can be a
Okay.
skill wherein you can measure the
I
kind of
completely agree with your point.
corruption.
I was not getting the right word. That's why I use constructive. But
Okay.
corruption doesn't any relation, don't have any relations with the growth of the country. It is always
No,
impacting negatively towards the growth of any country.
actually, you both like explained the point I put, the example I put of Korea and India. The Korean,
Mm-hmm.
corruption Koreans did actually led to the development of their country, but how Tabib said, it always negatively impacts the growth of the country. That also I said that it increased the gap between the rich and poor. So
Mm-hmm.
that is exactly what happened with the Korean corruption, was that the rich got richer and the poor got poorer, and it happened very
Mm-hmm.
fast, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like in like just 15 years, this happened. So the what corruption they used to do was that they used to lobby politicians and like prosecutors and judges to give judgment in their favor.
Mm-hmm.
So
Similarly, that is happening in the Indian
they
government,
have
wherein
a
Adani is
redevelopment
taking
plan.
advantage of his terms with the Modi government to take
Yes.
contracts of building
Yes,
infrastructure in
yes, yes.
other countries.
That is exactly
So this is happening
what was
everywhere.
happening. They used to lobby politicians to get favorable outcome for their own corporations while developing the
Mm.
country.
Oh, yeah,
So
This is
like
where
similarly. Yeah,
this
yeah.
is where
Similarly, in the case of
the
China, China uses communalism
yes,
and capitalism to ease their decision making. They have a very
yes,
short
yes.
time duration of taking decisions. But in the
So
case of
no,
democracy, there are several
what happens
hindrances.
in what happens in this case is that
no,
when
you
these
cannot blame the
corruption
democracy for that.
wait
You cannot blame the
when
democracy.
I'm not blaming
huh,
democracy. I'm saying that the
we
democracy
cannot blame the
slows down your
democracy.
process of taking decisions. It will take
Yes.
the right decision, but it slows down the process.
Hmm.
It
Mm.
So
will be
no,
the
what
most
How slow
happened
can a
was
democracy be?
when these
My question
corporations
is
got
how slow can the democracy? Okay,
you
okay, go
have
ahead.
to take the opinions of each and everyone, so that's why the time consumed is more as
no
compared to in the case of
Kshitij,
communalism, when there is
Korea is
only
Okay, let
also a
me
one or two in
democracy.
power.
Korea is also
okay, okay.
democracy, but what happened was the
Yeah, America is also a
corporations
democracy.
lobbied.
Britain is also a democracy. France is also a democracy. All these
No,
are developed countries. In fact,
but
they are
but in
more
the case of
democracies that
Korea
are
also,
developed
the
than the
time
autocracies
taken
of
of
the
taking decision is all
communist countries.
reduced. That's why I think,
no,
that's why you
that
said
It
only
has
15
nothing to do with
years
the
the
time taken
differences in
by
the
or
poor
the
and
decision taking.
riches.
Okay, there's
please
nothing to
let
do
me
because
speak.
at the
Let me
end there's
speak,
something that is going to.
Okay,
Tabib.
Okay, Wahab.
let Wahab speak.
you guys are just explaining my points. Korea
Okay, okay,
is
okay. We are so sorry.
Korea is a democracy. Already said that what Koreans did was the big corporations lobbied politicians to give favorable outcomes for their own corporations, and they use these favorable outcomes to develop the country and then benefit from that development. So this corruption actually helped the rich, but what happened was that though the poor people did not get any benefit from this. So that is what the corruption did. It increased the gap. So it actually
Mhm.
helped the development, but there are more worse of people, worse of there is like larger and more like poverty in Korea when compared to India. So that corruption
Poverty in
was,
Korea, you're talking about South Korea.
yes, South Korea.
It has
There
more poverty than India.
many cases, not I'm not saying in the number of people, but there are many people who are, you can say, are very very poor because of the system
I
has
don't
made
think
them
so.
such.
Okay,
you,
I
you can you know you, you can go on YouTube and you can search for this, or you can go on any like Google and you can search for this, like the two-facedness of Korea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
two
think
facets of
Tabib,
It
Korea.
you
is
must
considered a
remember that
developed country.
we saw a
It is
movie
considered a
Parasite.
developed country, but there are so many poor people there. So
Mhm.
that is what the corruption did to Korea. It actually made it developed, but it also led to more poor
Mhm.
people. But in
Uh,
India, what happened was it did not lead to development. Corruption was there,
exactly,
but there was
exactly.
no development.
I
So
remember a
Okay, okay.
movie
that
In
was
from
what
Korea, you
South
have
happened.
got
Korea.
development, but also
Uh,
you have got that income gap,
No,
yes,
income
income
gap
gap.
in India is like you can say for because
relatively lower, but still it is
income
very
gap
huge.
was no income gap was not due to corruption in India. Income gap was because India is actually not in what is a manufacturing sector. It was in the manufacturing sector. 75% of people are in agriculture only. 70% around 70% are in uh, production center
Mhm.
sector only. So like it did not it was because of imbalance in jobs. More people were there when people were not needed, and in service jobs when people were needed there were no people. So this is what
Okay,
happened.
okay.
So this led to
Yeah,
pay gap.
so in India we have a different scenario. I agree, I agree. In South Korea, you have got the manufacturing industry that is considered as a primary sector for providing the jobs, and in India, you have got this agriculture sector that is primarily responsible for the employment.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and because we do not have those modern techniques, and we have still in many parts of our India, there are farmers who are not using things that can actually give them plenty of yields. That is the reason why they are so worse off and so lower in their income, financial status.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay. So yeah, agriculture plays a very important role. You just look at America. I mean, look at China. I mean, there are people who are
We
less employed in this sector, but still they are producing more than India just because of that technological advancement, and it has something to do with the manufacturing industry and the accessibility to the products that are required for farming and all for the production.
hmm.
So I think this is where the government intervention has to take place because the government is providing subsidies on the fertilizers, the government is providing the subsidies on the tap water, on this and that, but the capital investment that is primary or that can change the whole scenario. This is where the government is lagging behind. So the government should bring in this. Government should purchase and give those instruments that are required for massive farming to the farmers. Or there should be some R&D that should be happening on the part of government from ICAI, Agricultural Society of India. uh, I think there should be more funding to the R&D department. Like once we went through this process of green revolution and the plight of farmers was reduced significantly when that green revolution came into the picture. Similarly, I think there are many reforms that are pending, and that should come as soon as possible if we really want to, you know, change the sector-wise employment in our country. So that needs to happen because, okay, we are producing significantly higher than we used to produce earlier on, but still there is a lot to go. Okay, so you guys have any thought? Chitij,
Chitij,
Okay,
are you
I
listening?
think we were slightly on a different path
we
than
were off
our,
track.
which we are
So
off track.
we were
We are
talking
discussing
about
about
the
the wealth
wealth
tax
tax.
for the ultra rich, but
Mhm.
now we are discussing about the imbalance in the sectors of economy. Okay, so
Okay, so it doesn't matter. Okay, we are in our initial stage, and this is something that happens. I
it
mean,
doesn't
we
matter,
need
but we have to
to
be
on
on
daily.
track when we
We
realize
got
this thing.
interested in other topic. That's why we veered off.
We are going the
Uh,
off topic, but this
Mm.
is something that is very obvious when you are starting this kind of meeting. So I'm glad that we have a really healthy conversation. Although we went off topic, but it doesn't matter in the initial stage because we are not professional speakers. We are here to practice, and we did a great job. Believe me. I mean, out of all the sessions that I've attended, this is one of the best session I would say because uh, I mean I got a topic wherein I can relate or I can show my thoughts. I'm just feeling excited. I'm just feeling to show my opinions. So this is what I want. But in the other groups, you are simply asked like the kind of topics that they give, they are not relatable. Okay, they're asking you topics related to your personality development, and they're just focusing only and only on your personality development. I mean, they just give you topics. Uh, okay, so most of them are from the corporate world. Others are just having their own startups. So I don't find any example currently, but just understand just understand that the kind of topics we had in those meetings that were very boring, or I would not call them boring because to some people they can be interesting, but for me they were really boring. But today's session it was really good. I mean, I enjoyed a lot. I don't know about you guys, but I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah,
Should
it
they
was.
go
I
ahead?
would say uh, knowledgeable for me. Mm,
Mm-hmm. And thought provoking, I would say, because I got
yes.
very valuable insights. Some data points like I did not know about this condition of South Korea. I always used to think of South Korea as if it is the only country in our Asia that can be considered as equal for the poorest and the richest, and that doesn't have that gender gap. But now, as you told me, I mean, it's really hard for me to believe, but still, I'll go and find out about this condition of South Korea. Okay, so Kshitij, why are you so silent?
I'm not silent,
Are you
bro.
there or
I'm
not?
I'm just letting you complete. Then I will speak. So today's
Okay.
session is really
Okay.
a wonderful session. We enjoyed it a
One of the
lot.
best sessions
We
I've ever
all have enjoyed it. We have discussed so many things that we all don't know. We all contributed to the session. It is a fruitful session, but a
had.
little bit suggestion from my side is that do you,
Mm-hmm.
we have not came to a conclusion. We have to give solutions to this problem, but we are a little bit off track, and it's about 1.5 hour, and we are still not able to conclude our meet. And it is important to conclude to the discussion, because otherwise the discussion is not fruitful. We just started with a topic and
Mm.
ending on a different
There is a
topic.
certain structure, and we are just not
So
following
it is
that
a
structure,
structure.
that particular.
There must be a
Mm.
structure so that
And if we
we talk about the pros and cons of the topic. Someone
everything needs
will
to
be
be
in the
covered.
favor of the topic, other will be the against of the topic, and ultimately we are able to
Mm.
summarize our topic and give solutions towards the problem if it is a problem. Otherwise different views must be summarized. So that's all about today's meet, and my suggestions that I want to put forward. And otherwise the meet is very fruitful. We discuss a lot, and I think tomorrow we will
Mm.
take care of this thing also, and we will doing the things as per the
Sure,
structure.
Okay.
sure, sure. We'll do that.
Okay, okay. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining this meet. I'm just ending the recording.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
Wahab. Thank
much
you,
for
Pradeep.
So
joining.
we
It
can
was
end
just
here.
Yeah, we can end here. Okay. Good night, everyone.
okay.
Thank
Goodbye. Good night. Take care.